My name's Todd Volker. I live in Ottawa. I'm the author of the complete Grand Illinois Trail Guidebook that came out 8 years or so ago. So I've done that big loop in northern Illinois. I was a tour director for the Lincoln Bicentennial Bike Tour that ran from Lincoln's birthplace in Kentucky up to Springfield. We're doing something like that again this year, later in September. So that's me. Actually, something else you should note is that I grew up in Lombard. I spent a lot of time as a kid playing in the Illinois Prairie Path, really liked the trail there. My parents moved to Princeton, so I know the Hennepin Canal and the area pretty well with the canals. About 1992, this idea came into mind. I'm going to try to keep pace with the slides. The idea here is there are two canal systems. You know the I&M Canal. The Hennepin Canal starts around Hennepin or so, and it goes out to the Quad City. There's a missing gap here, about 15 and a half miles or so. In 1992, we started looking at trying to fill that in. And our objective was to encourage local use of trails, of course, allow access to the Illinois River, tourism, and support the Canal Corridor Association. So it's kind of neat that they do go all the way kind of in a nice east-west progression. And really it started, I worked for a company in Peru, the Caris Corporation. A snowmobiler in the area came and thought he had a route kind of mapped out for connecting the two, but it was this intricate kind of thing that just wasn't too doable, really. So we started exploring it as a kind of a community project. And this is a quote. When I put this together a while back, I came up with it. I think the upshot of this is it's good to be out in nature. That's the upshot of that. And I feel that way this spring. It's nice to get outside. The I&M Canal, some information there. It really started the development of transportation through the area. The Rock Island Railroad closely follows the canal routing. The Hennepin Canal, you guys know the Hennepin Canal at all? Who knows the Hennepin Canal? Raise your hand. Well, that's good. This was interesting thing about this was it was first proposed in the 1840s, 1850s or so because the topography looked good for it. But it didn't get started then. It kept dragging on, and Congress would look at it every so often. But finally, there's enough sort of populist pressure and anti-railroad feeling that they thought a canal would be a good alternative, would drive the price for shipping commodities down. The Grand Illinois Trail Program came along. And if you see it, you can see the top northern part of the state. It's accessible by millions of people. This is a nice scene to shock people with. This is a Starved Rock depiction everyone's seen, where the French meet the Indians. So here's kind of the timeline. 92, locally we start looking at it. 93, the IDNR starts looking at it. 1995, the first conservation congresses started saying, hey, this is a really good idea to try to link the two canals. Let's really support that. 2002, there was some federal funds for analysis. And we think that the solution, the best way to connect the two, is to follow a portion of the original Rock Island Railroad. It was double-tracked at one time. One set of rails was taken up after the bankruptcy of the Rock Island in 1980. And so what you have is, this is pretty tight here, but you've got enough sufficient space there in that rail corridor to do a rail with trail project. And I think the interesting thing was when I was, you look up at the top there's a car driving along that. It's just, it's a convenient way to get from point A to point B. I was down there with a camera and happened to find the guy driving along the route there. So we've got local support for the idea of linking the two canals with a rail trail. The Bureau County Board endorsed that routing. The cycle clubs, these other organizations too. Here's the ownership of the rail corridor. The Indians had it. Uncle Sam took it. The Rock Island developed it. It's now owned by a really large entity called Castle Cooke. It's a big real estate outfit in Los Angeles. They leased the right to use the rail to these two entities. This is what Castle and Cooke looks like. Very large company. The owner is a very wealthy person. They owned an island in Hawaii until recently. They sold it to Oracle, Larry Ellison. To them, this is just a nothing much piece of property. They're just connected to Illinois. This is what some of the things that they've got. But it's a very large West Coast company. For a long time, the IDNR tried to contact them about, well, can we try to do a rail trail project? Castle and Cooke just wouldn't respond to the state. The director of the IDNR asked to discuss it, got nowhere. But what we'd like to do at this point, we know that Castle and Cooke is willing to sell the property to the state, a portion of the corridor to the state. We know that the operating line is amenable to that. We also need to get CSX to talk. And that's kind of where we're at right now with the project. So.
Great. Thank you.